Hey everyone, Glenn here, coming to you finally with my Heroes Reborn official review. Now, I did put this off for quite a while as I didn't know what exactly to say about this show, as I was a big fan of the original and I had high expectations for this one. And as I have a disclaimer at the beginning, there are spoilers in this, so if you're going to complain after the fact, it's your own fault for listening. So, as we all know, Heroes went off the air in 2010 due to low ratings. That in itself I'll get into later on because I want to talk about the Nielsen ratings and how sometimes good shows slip through the cracks and end up getting canceled due to low ratings. Just a little backstory as to how I got into Heroes. What had happened was my son was born in 2009. And prior to that, I'd only seen the initial season 1, episode 1 of Heroes. And at that time, when it came out in 2006, I wasn't overly impressed with it. And I didn't give it another chance. Now I'm told as a rule of thumb, usually you give a show 4 episodes before you make a decision on it. Unless it's Orange is the New Black, which totally sucked. And I watched 2 episodes and I said enough of this crap. So anyhow, my son, when he was born, it was, you don't get a lot of sleep. And when you do get a chance to sleep, you're not worrying about watching or catching up on television shows. You're more worried about actually getting some decent sleep. So after a couple of years of him not sleeping and having, not a good routine set, I think it was in 2011. And Heroes had been off the air for a year. I didn't realize it was off the air at the time. And so my wife said, well, why don't you go pick up a TV show on DVD and watch some shows you hadn't caught up on before. So I said, all right. So I went to the, I think it was Walmart or something like that. Or it might have been Zellers, which is now a debunked company, no longer around. Anyhow, and I saw Heroes, and I said, you know what? I never gave that show a fair shake. Let me pick up the first season. Just get, try the first season out. I heard it was good afterwards. So I'm like, what could it hurt? So lo and behold, I watched the first episode again, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Wasn't that bad. I just, maybe I was just too hasty before. So anyways, I started watching it, and next thing you know, within 2 months, my wife and I have gone through all 4 seasons. And I'm like, okay, well, season 5 must be coming on DVD soon. And so I go check online, and I'm like, oh, the show was canceled in February of 2010. I'm like, what the hell? How can you end with a cliffhanger like that? So anyhow, all 4 seasons are done. I've watched them all. I've seen everything, and I'm pissed off because there's no longer going to be any more episodes. And so I kind of immersed myself in these fan vids and fan fiction and dedicated fan sites to this show. And I met a few good friends through this, through YouTube videos and whatnot. And lo and behold, 2015... We get a commercial. We get a 15-second clip, and you just kind of see the eclipse, and then it's like Heroes Reborn, and it's like, what the hell? It's coming back. But none of us had any idea what was coming, and yeah. So they air this 15-second clip during I think it was the Winter Olympics, and people just start losing their minds. Actually, it was 2014 when they aired that commercial, I believe. Had to have been if it was Winter Olympics. 2014 and early 2015 anyhow. So the commercials aired, and then you go to Twitter, and all the original stars start, tweeting out, did you see this? Have you heard this? I think Masaoka, who played Hiro Nakamura, wrote, do I need to dust off the old sword? And I'm like, okay, well, geez, they're going to get the old group back together. We're going to get some closure on the original story. But at this point, we had no idea what was going to happen. We had, we didn't know who was signed on and what the story was going to be. I was just excited the show was coming back. I'm like, the show didn't get a fair shake. And let me dive into that right now, because I'm going to lose my focus on this anyways if I don't do it now. Heroes ended, the original series did 4 seasons, and it ended due to low ratings. When the show ended, it was doing about 4.5 million viewers per episode in the season 4 towards the end. which is not bad. It's not great by any means, especially with, the stars were all full, they're all looking at expanding. They're going into movies and everything else, so they're making more money elsewhere. Uh, but the thing was, the Nielsen ratings are what killed the original series. The Nielsen ratings, basically, what happens is there's so many households that get a box put in their house, and it basically follows your television patterns, what you watch, when you watch, how often you watch, and it's fed into a bank, and then ratings are generated through this. Well, at that time, they weren't taking into account online streaming, on demand. There's so many different ways that you can view a television show, and the studios know this. But if you're people that are paying for television ads and paying for TV time, and they think that your show is not doing well, essentially they'll cut your show because they want to put a show in there that's going to generate ratings. And then there's the people who are paying for advertising are happy that they're in a time slot with a show that is generating people actually watching it. Little do they know, people like myself, I record the damn show so I can skip those damn commercials. I don't give a crap about commercials during a TV show. I watch 90% of my shows they're already recorded. I record everything because I don't want to sit through your stupid commercials. So your advertising doesn't affect me whatsoever. I know what I like. I know what I want to buy. I know what I want. Your commercials don't influence me. But there's a lot of people that do get influenced by commercials, and I understand that. And I understand the studios have to charge something so these shows can get made. But when you don't take into account there's other ways of watching a show other than on a TV, you're just ridiculous. Now, in this past year or two, they have, maybe longer, they've been taking the PVR recordings into consideration. So it kind of boosted, like for Heroes Reborn, their numbers were a little bit higher, but then they declined. But then again, the Nielsen ratings were misleading. Anyhow, let me just jump into this. So Heroes Reborn comes out. It's September of 2015. The show's finally on the air. Now, spoilers, people. I'm just saying. I'm not gonna keep saying spoilers. If you don't know by now, I'm gonna talk about the show and parts that may ruin it for you. Turn it off now. Don't watch. I don't want to hear any complaining about it later. Anyhow, so the show starts off with a bang, like a literal bang. You got Noah sitting on a bench, and he's called Claire. He's trying to get into contact with her. As we all know, at the end of season 4, she kind of revealed her powers to the world. Now the world is aware that these people do exist that have abilities, and they're having some kind of a conference where the Evos, which they call the people with abilities and powers now, they call them Evos, which was a terrible term. But they're having some kind of conference where humans and Evos can come together and see, you shouldn't be afraid of them, that we can coexist kind of thing. And it's all narrative in the background. Noah leaving this message on Claire's answering machine, and he's going to this conference. And then when he arrives at the conference, there's a huge explosion and thousands of people are killed. So it starts off really aggressive, and you're like, okay, this is good. And then after this big explosion at this event in Texas, Odessa, Texas, where Claire is, humans know, now they fear these people with powers. They fear them, and you see all these different people chasing down and capturing and killing these people with abilities. So the first hour was really, really good. Except for kind of the guy who played Quentin, who kind of becomes Noah's sidekick later on, but we'll get into that. But aside from that, Quentin was in the first hour it was really good, except for Quentin trying to be funny in some parts, and I didn't find his character all that funny due to the subject matter. I know you wanted things to be lighthearted, but not like where Hero in the original series was funny because he was kind of clueless to what he was doing with his abilities, and he had a really cool ability. But no, just other than that, the first hour is great. But the first episode which was kind of a two-parter. The second part just started to slide. It was almost like what happened. We started with some oomph, and then we just the air let out of the balloon kind of thing. So these people with abilities are being chased down. They're being killed. We were introduced to like Luke and Joanne, who lost a child during the explosion, and they blame these people with abilities. So they're hunting them down, killing them one by one. We have Noah, who's lost his memory. We don't know how he's lost his memory. Why did he lose his memory? There's just a lot of things going on. And where's Claire? What was the big thing is where's Claire? The indestructible girl. Where is she? She couldn't be found during this explosion. So, and all those who don't remember Claire was the one that no matter what you did to her, she couldn't die. She can heal, regenerate from anything. Broken bones, bullet wounds, stabs, whatever. So anyhow, like I said, the first hour was just fantastic. Second hour was really lacking. It was like almost they ran out of steam already. And then the next 3 or 4 episodes, although you're introduced to new characters, I didn't care for any of them. This show had such potential, and I'm already getting angry about this as we speak. This show had so much potential. They could have done so much better with this. They could have so much more of a better storyline you could have done with this show. But they just introduced you to people you didn't care about. Like in the second, third, fourth, and fifth episodes, I was just like, oh my God, I'm already ready for this show to be over. I'm so disappointed. I didn't like Tommy / Nathan was the only character I kind of really cared about aside from Noah. I just didn't care about any of these people. I had no connection to them. Not like the original series. You had 23 episodes of the first season to get to know these characters. Whether Peter, Siler, Nathan, Angela. You got to know everybody. You got to know them. You got to know where they came from, who they were. This, although it was only 13 episode season miniseries, it just was slow. You need to introduce these people quick. You got to give them a quick backstory on it. And it can't run that long because your 13 episodes, you really got to push the show. You got to really get going. You got to keep me interested. I lost interest. I just could not. I wanted it to get better every week, and every week I anticipated something better was going to happen, and it never did. Never got better. So, and the characters like Carlos and his, I can't remember the young, Melina, the one with the powers. Melina and her brother Tommy, who were to save the world. All these new characters, just didn't care enough about them to worry about them. And that's like they're heroes. You want to root for the hero. I just didn't care what happened to them. And it wasn't just that. Like, because I'm going to say what I'm going to say now. Episodes 6 and 7, I believe it was June 13th, part 1 and 2, were the best of the entire series. And I'll tell you why it was the best of the series. Because it had the most of the original characters in it. You had Hero, you had Noah, you had Angela Petrelli, you had Mohinder coming back. People that I liked and cared about. And to see them come back, it made me feel nostalgic, which was great. I really, really enjoyed seeing the originals come back. And I thought, okay, these 2 episodes were fantastic. It's got to get better from there. No. After June 13th, part 2, it just fell flat again. Like, and I'll go back. Introducing the new characters, like I said, aside from Tommy, I did care about Miko. Miko and the Ren, they were kind of like the Hero and Ando from the original series. They were kind of, she was Katana. Miko was Katana girl. She can kind of jump in and out of the computers. So she could jump into games and swinging swords and flipping around. I like that. A lot of people hated that character, but I liked it because it was different. It was different from what we had seen before. We've seen the people that could throw fire and could fly and telekinesis and telepathy and you name it, we've seen it. But this was something different. It was something new. And it was different to what Micah could do. Micah was able to touch computers and can manipulate computers and control that kind of stuff. Miko was just completely different. And she had a purpose. As what was always good about the original series, these characters had a purpose. Like Carlos and his invisible girlfriend and Micah, what was their purpose in the show? I did not understand what their purpose was. There was no clear guidelines to where they were going. And then another original that returned was Matt Parkman. And he's now the evil Matt Parkman running this house of people he's controlling with his telepathy. And I have already forgotten why he was controlling these people. That just shows you how much I cared. Now, I used to do a weekly series on Google Plus with my friend John. And at the time, I was very optimistic, so I was pretty happy during those because John and I were talking about the show and talking about the good and the bad, and back then I was like, I could see when I watched those old videos of us talking, I was like, you could see I was very optimistic. I was hopeful that Tim Kring knew where he was going with this series, but boy, oh boy, was I wrong. It was almost like I believe the gentleman's name from season 1 that did a lot of contributions producing and writing was Brian Fuller. He wasn't involved in season 2, 3, and 4 of Heroes, the original. And you can see the writing was different, and it didn't have the intensity of the original season. Although I did like season 3, and people hate me for saying that. I enjoyed season 3. There was a lot of filler, yes there was, but to me it had a lot of great storylines. But anyhow, Heroes Reborn, its writing was stale and dull. I don't know, it's just frustrating. Characters were not well written. There was no clear direction for the longest time. And yes, you don't want to know exactly everything that's going on when it's happening, but there should be some clear direction of where we're going to. Yes, we know the world needs to be saved, but the way they went about it was so terrible. Just so terrible. And another original that I enjoyed seeing coming back was the Haitian. When he came back and then was shot by Noah, then when time traveling happened and things changed a bit, he came back and he kind of showed up at that farmhouse where Matt Parkman was kind of keeping all these people under his mind control. And so I was kind of glad he wasn't killed off permanently. He was killed off in an alternate universe, I guess. But and then Hero, did he live or die? I was kind of like, okay, well maybe he's still alive. There was a few good things, but I said it had all to do with the original characters. It had nothing to do with the new characters. Even the ending, where Melina and Nathan or / Tommy, and Noah save the world, where they use Noah as a conductor and they shoot their powers and they protect the world from the Healy that's coming to wipe out the Earth. That was okay. Wasn't even a great payoff. It was just, yeah, okay. Even the ending where, now the ending, if you haven't read the Heroes ebook number 5, you're going to be like, what? Yeah, you have to read the book to understand who the father was of Claire's children. It does explain in there, his name is Hunter, I believe. And at the end of Heroes Reborn, you get the girl, Tommy and Melina get a card, and Angela sees the card and tells Melina, this is from your father, and he's coming back to get you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And they never explain what Hunter's power was in the book. They just said Claire fell in love with this guy, they hooked up, and she ended up getting pregnant. And so anyways, it just ended, and you're like, okay, it's like end of volume. And yeah, it was a blah ending. Blah. I'm like, what's going on? Like, where's the oomph? Like, at least at the end of every Hero season, there was a fight or a battle or something that made me this build up. There was no build up. Aside from them saving the world from the Healy, the only other cool part in the... actually, there was... Let's see. 3 cool parts in that whole episode. There was when Luke sacrificed himself to take the first blunt of the first wave of the Healy. He went up into the sky and basically exploded, absorbed it all, died. And when Tommy left Erica in the future that will no longer happen, so basically she's been wiped from his existence, which is kind of cool. But I'm like, out of an hour, I enjoyed a whole 2 minutes of the show. Like, how weak is this? It's just... It was just terrible. And I'll get to why it was terrible, the show. Like, a lot of the points I did not like. One of the things I did not like was, if you're going to announce a Heroes type show where it's associated with the original, have the main characters come back. How can you have Heroes Reborn without Peter Petrelli, Siler, and Claire Bennett? Granted, Claire, or Hayden Panettiere, was now doing Nashville. Okie dokie, that's fine. But even CBS let Masioka, who plays Hero, do a 3-episode arc It was almost like they collaborated. Okay, we're going to let you have your guy, but you can't have him for the whole series, but you can have him for so many episodes. I'm pretty sure Nashville would have let her go do this, even for one episode. Even one. And this is another thing that pisses me off to no end. Milo Ventimiglia. Yeah, and I said it right. It is Milo Ventimiglia. It's not Milo. It's Milo Ventimiglia. I've seen him do enough interviews, and I copy it the way he says his own damn name, so don't try to correct me. I get people telling me that I'm saying it wrong. It's not wrong. Zachary Quinto and Hayden Panettiere. Now, I may have said her name wrong, but I don't give a damn. First off, Zachary Quinto, when approached about the show, said, well, I'm kind of busy doing other things. I don't want to revisit it. I'm grateful that Siler is what got me on the grid, but I don't feel like really going back. What the hell is that kind of crap? So us as the fans don't deserve even one episode of you coming back as that character to give us some closure? I'm not saying you owe us, but you kind of do. Of all the things, like, that show made you, and you couldn't. And then here's another thing: you're doing a stupid ass movie called The Slap with NBC, so you're on the same damn lot as Heroes Reborn is filming, and you couldn't even cross the parking lot to go to the other studio and do it. You didn't want to revisit the character that made you. Hey, I'm happy that you're doing well with American Horror Story and your Star Trek and whatnot, but yeah, you could have revisited it. And I think it was a lame excuse, and you pissed off a lot of your fans by not doing it. That's just me. I was not too thrilled when you said you weren't even going to show up. Number 2, Hayden Panettiere. Like we said, she was doing Nashville, but I don't think they even tried to get in contact with her. She said she wasn't contacted about the show. I kind of find it hard to damn believe that the star of the original series for 4 seasons wasn't contacted. I think either you didn't come to, there was some kind of negotiation or money or something. I just don't believe you weren't contacted. I think that's a crock of crap. And then let's move on to Milo Ventimiglia. This one pisses me off to no end. I'm a big fan of yours, buddy, but you really pissed me off with this. He was at a Comic-Con or convention with John Berthenol, and I think they were promoting that gangster series that had Robert Knepper in it as well, and which I did enjoy. I thought it was a good show. John Berthenol, if you don't remember people, he's the guy who played Shane on The Walking Dead and who's now playing the Punisher on Daredevil on Netflix. Milo was saying, the fan asked him, are you going to be coming back to Heroes Reborn? And he said, I believe his exact words were, I wasn't invited. I wasn't asked. And I find that hard to believe you were not asked. You were like the most important character on the show. You and Hero and Siler and Claire were the most important characters on the show. Not saying the other people on the original were not important, but you 4 were the most important of all. And then he said the stupid ass comment, which pisses me off. You said, it's like going to visit an old girlfriend. What do you mean going to visit an old girlfriend? Yeah, we all know you dated Hayden on the show and it didn't work out and there was tension on the show afterwards. But anyhow, it's like going to visit an old girlfriend. Well, so what? I don't understand this. You can't have a friendship with an old girlfriend? If that's your metaphor. I was able to maintain friendships with ex-girlfriends. Not a problem being around them. I don't know if there was just that serious of a problem with somebody on set. It just seemed like the tension between you and Hayden was just obviously terrible. But the thing is, this reference and you said it more than once at different conventions. You're like, oh, it's like visiting an old girlfriend. You don't really do that, and you don't really have any interest in it. You're doing Gilmore Girls reunion on Netflix. So don't give me this bull crap that you don't want to revisit an old girlfriend. It's just stupid. And I find it frigging hard to believe you were not asked to be on the show. I do not believe it. I think you were asked and you declined it because you didn't want to work maybe with Hayden or, yeah, we understand you were busy with the Whispers and whatnot, but that was already filmed and wrapped. And even if it wasn't, you couldn't you do get days off. You could have flew to wherever the hell they were filming and did one day. Look at the guy who played Mahinder Sendel. Oh, I don't want to pronounce your name wrong, sir. He was flying back and forth to the States almost every other day to do another show and to do Heroes Reborn in Canada. So he was going back and forth. So this guy's going through customs to get into the countries. He made time to satisfy the fans. I have respect for that. Much respect for that. I do not have any respect for you not wanting to come back. Regardless of what your excuse was. You don't want to visit an old girlfriend. You don't visit an old girlfriend. Come on now. That show made you. I didn't know who you were till that show, and I've been watching all your stuff since. But that show put you on the map. Even though my wife recognized you from Gilmore Girls, I wouldn't watch that drivel. That's just not my thing. So yeah, so Tim Kring, you're going to revisit this show ever again? Get the damn main stars. Don't announce anything until you've got them signed. How easy is that? Oh, hey, Zachary, Milo, and Hayden, we need you to sit down and be grown up about this, and we're going to sign you on for, even though you're busy with movies and TV shows and everything, can we get you to come on as an appearance? And hell, with Nashville being canceled and being picked up by CMT, I'm pretty sure they can give Hayden Panettiere time off and to go do a show on NBC. So, and Milo, I know you're doing other little projects right now, and but, you know, hey, if they revisit this show even within the next year, make some damn time. And by the way, it's a shame the Whispers didn't make it because I enjoyed that show. Good ending. Very good ending. So after I've ranted about that, let's go back to what was wrong with Heroes Reborn. The main things were, and I'm not going to put them in any particular order. One, the special effects were just shit. I'm sorry. I'm going to call them what they are. They're shit. Shit effects. I am a very amateur filmmaker. I do little skits and whatnot on my YouTube channel. I practice a lot. I don't put a lot of my stuff out there. But I practice a lot of special effects. And I'm going to say this right now. Some of my special effects are way better than what was the crap that was on Heroes Reborn. Terrible! Just cheesy, crappy, shitty looking. I'm sorry. Shitty looking. And a lot of it was that girl that had the power, Phoebe, who had the power to control darkness and those block powers and stuff like that. Like that crap coming out of her hands looks so fake. I think my kid could do better than that. It was just terrible. Come on, guys. I don't understand it. It was just bleh. Number 2, acting. There were a lot of scenes. This is excluding the originals. The original characters all did a fantastic job. A lot of these new characters, the acting was not great. And I'm not picking on the guy that played Harris, but you, sir, did a terrible job. I felt you were very bland, and you're supposed to be a villain that gets a body part cut off and you can clone yourself and regenerate and clone. Well, you weren't really regenerating. You basically cut your finger off, cut your hand off, and you can clone yourself. Okay, that's cool ability. But I just didn't feel like you were a threat, and it's because your acting came off very bland. Very blasé, I should say. Erica, as a villain, yeah, you were kind of like a cheap version of a Lex Luthor. I just didn't care. I didn't feel you were a threat. I really didn't. You were going to take the people you wanted to the future and leave the people behind you didn't like. Okay, what's stop you? And I don't know. And then Carlos, the El Luchador superhero costume. He didn't have any powers, but the costume you wore did have powers. You fell flat, sir. Luis Guzman, I believe your name is. And a lot of the girl fans were hyped on you being on the show. And I'm like, okay, if the girls like him, maybe he's a good actor. No, then I thought about Twilight, and those shows were shit as well. And Robert Pattinson can't act worth shit. But I had high hopes on your character, but no, it fell flat on me. Just didn't care. The whole angle just was terrible. The priest that could turn into this fog or smoke or whatever the hell it was you could turn into, didn't care. I just did not care about the character. It was, like I said, all the original characters I did not care, and the acting was, majority was bad. It was bad. I'm not a professional actor. But I've got some stuff I've done on YouTube that was better than what some of the characters did on that show. I'll tell you that right now. I don't know. I don't know when they played it back or when they shot the scene, they went, oh, that's great. No. Even I shoot a scene 8 times, and I pick the best. I'm not a professional movie maker. Like I said, I'm an amateur. I'm going to be filming my own little series come October called the TK Chronicles, which is kind of like Heroes meets Alphas. If you haven't watched Alphas, people check it out. It's a good show. Got canceled after 2 seasons, but really good. Yeah. So anyhow, I'm not a professional actor, but I found the acting very weak. And if anybody from the show sees this and goes, "Oh, you're an asshole," yeah, okay, I'm an asshole. I'm just giving my opinion because and it's not like I don't like I love the original show. I own everything on DVD. I've got the action figures. I've got the books and all that jazz. And I'm a collector of the hero stuff. I love the series. NBC sucks because they don't know how to keep a good series. The writer's strike did screw up the show, the original seasons. Season 2 was affected because of the writer's strike. I don't care what any of you say. The show got screwed. Halfway through season 2, they had to end it because of the writer's strike. So they ended it really kind of crappy. And if you haven't seen season 2, the way it ended was 12 episodes it went, I believe. And anyhow, the virus, the Shanti virus, was supposed to be released to the world. But they couldn't do that now because the writer's strike, so they had to end it, where Peter basically saved the world and absorbed the Shanti virus and were kind of swishing in his hands with his radiation power and absorbed it into his skin, and all was safe. The whole thing was, it was supposed to go, I think, 22 episodes. And my understanding was the virus gets released to the world, people die, and the person who saves them was the Maya, was the girl who had the poison emission. I think her and her brother were supposed to be some kind of heroes of the world. They absorbed because the brother Alejandro was able to absorb her poison emission, so the two of them together, I don't know, something like that. They were supposed to be the big heroes of season 2, but that got shot to shit when the writer's strike happened. Anyhow, as I play this stuff back now, I'm kind of all over the place. But anyhow, you get the gist of it. I liked Heroes Reborn. Not that I hated it. Didn't hate it. Just very disappointed. I thought it could have been way better. You started off with a bang, and it just didn't go anywhere. It did not go anywhere. It was all over the place. I just didn't care about it. I didn't care for the storyline. I didn't care for the new characters. The acting was bad in a lot of spots. The special effects were really weak. The chemistry was not there with Noah and Quentin, which they tried to force on us, and it just didn't work. And then when they came back, when Noah came back from June 13th, Part 2, and Quentin had flipped from being a good guy to bad guy, I didn't care that he was working with his sister now, and they were going to work with Erica to destroy the world. I just didn't care. And you should care about a show. I cared about the original series. Even though I was a late bloomer on it, I watched it after it was over. I loved it. I still watch it all the time. My wife thinks I'm obsessed. I'm like, well, every time I watch an episode of that, it kind of helps me write my own stories. And that's why what I have written for my own web series takes the best stuff from Heroes. What people loved about it. I've written characters that people will care about. I've even rewritten some of the stuff in there because I'm like, I don't care what's happening now. I have to rewrite it so I actually care. I've written something that people would be invested in. People that care about the characters, even the villains. They're gonna like the villains. They're gonna care about them. Look at Sylar. Guy was cutting people's heads off with his finger with his telekinesis, and by the end of season 4, he was one of my favorite characters. I'm like, this guy is fantastic. And he's the villain, and I love him. Him and Peter were my favorites. Peter actually was my all-time favorite. I don't know. A lot of people like Hero. Hey, John, I know you like Hero. Hero is your favorite, I know. But I liked Peter. I was a big fan of Peter. But yeah, so as I was saying, it's all about writing. If and I gave my story to different people who don't really know me, people who know me, and the consensus was the same. This is good. This is really good. I was given some advice on where to tweak some stuff, and I did. I fixed it. I think Tim Kring sits in a room and goes, I'm God Almighty. My shit don't stink. Here's where we're going. Write it. Okay, good enough. I can't believe Tim Kring would actually look at the crap that he wrote and go, you guys did a good job. Yeah, you did a good job for the first hour. And then I just didn't care anymore. Did not care. Very disappointed. I was very disappointed. And I was really pissed off when people were saying, it's been canceled. No, it wasn't canceled. It was a miniseries. And with any miniseries, if there's great ratings, there will be more. But the ratings apparently were not that good. And according to one of the NBC executive producers, or one of the vice presidents or something from the NBC, said, "Thank you to the 7 million people that tuned in every week." So even though the ratings were like 4.5 each week, there was still 2.5 million, 3 million people that were watching their PVR or watching it streaming online or on the app. And that's where the Nielsen ratings fail. They don't take everything into account. Yeah, they take the PVR into account now, but they don't take streaming online. They don't take the apps that are available. And screw you, NBC. You didn't make the Heroes app available in Canada, so screw you. I was really pissed off about that. Like, the show was watched worldwide, and you couldn't make the app available to your neighbor above you? How ridiculous is that? You're going to promote a show, you make it available to everybody. And even your YouTube channel pissed me off to no end. Because I would take clips from still shots of the clips and put it on my show. So when me and John were talking in the background, I had scenes from Heroes Reborn playing in the background. Not actual video, just pictures. And then you stop making the videos available in Canada. You can only watch your Heroes Reborn clips in the US. That's ridiculous. You've basically alienated 75% of your viewers. Because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people watching it outside of the US. Is it not an international show? I know it played in the UK 6 months after it was over or something, but it doesn't matter. You alienated your fan base. And it just pissed me off. Like, aside from the DVD that I bought for the show, because I want to support Heroes, I want to show my support, I won't be buying the books. I did buy a couple of the ebooks. I shouldn't say I won't buy the books. I bought a couple of the ebooks. Because ebook number 5 was fantastic because it had Peter and Siler in it. Yeah, that's right. I spoiled that for you too. Just like people saying, "Oh yeah, you on your show you talked about Claire being dead." I'm like, yeah, I talked about Claire being dead. We did a weekly show, and if you hadn't watched the show within a week and you're watching my show, which said spoilers at the beginning of every episode, you're a fool. Yeah, Claire died, and then for those of you that didn't see how Claire died, Tommy, her one child, was able to absorb abilities. No matter who he touched, he absorbed their abilities. He took their powers. So if you were able to fly and he touched you or grabbed you, he'd absorb your flying ability. You can no longer fly. And he can only control one power. So he was a cross between Arthur Petrelli, his grandfather, who was dead. And Arthur was one that could steal anybody's ability, but he maintained all abilities that he stole. And then Peter's weak-ass ability that they gave him in Season 4, or at the end of Season 3, and part of Season 4, where he can only steal one person's ability and just use that one, but the person still had their ability. So if you could fly, Peter would touch you, he could fly, but you could still fly too. He didn't steal it. Not like Arthur, he would just drain your ability and you couldn't do it anymore. So Tommy was able to steal your power, but he can only maintain one at a time. So it was a cross between his uncle Peter and his grandfather Arthur. So when he was born, obviously touched his mom on the way out and stole her regeneration ability. So she died. He stole all her powers. And then if you don't remember Season 3 where, was it Season 3? Yeah, Season 3 where the eclipse came, which kind of gave them their powers originally. And then when the eclipse comes again, it blocks their powers. When the eclipse came in Season 3, she lost her powers. And anything that ever happened to her wrong all hit her at one time. Her body basically shut down and she died. Then when the eclipse disappeared, she came back. But this time, Tommy completely drained her abilities. She was dead. So she died giving childbirth. And essentially her child killed her. Didn't mean to, but it happened. That's what happened. So, yeah, you guys are going to be watching this freaking story, my little podcast here, and you're going to, Jesus Christ, he's all over the place. Yeah, I'm doing this. I'm not scripted anything. I'm just talking off the cuff. It's just how I do things. I'll get better at it. Don't care. I really don't care. I'm just angry about this whole thing. This Heroes Reborn was just not well done. Heroes, I think they should come back. Give it to Netflix, for Christ's sakes. Look at what they do. Daredevil, Jessica Jones. They're going to have Luke Cage, Iron Fist. And then the Defenders. Like, what they do is going to be great. Oh, and the Punisher, too. They're going to give him his own show. So, learn from them. Okay, Tim Kring and NBC. You guys going to collaborate together again? Freaking do it right. Christ, hire me to write the damn story. I could write better than what was done. And, I'll pay the money to get my union card so I can be a writer for you guys. Christ almighty, it was just terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. There were some good things about it, but not enough for me to talk about. I said, the only thing I liked about the whole series was June 13th, part 1 and 2. Because we got to see the originals back. They gave us a better inkling of what the hell was going on. And I actually cared what was happening to them. Oh, and another thing too, the gentleman who played Mohinder, Sendel, they were looking to make a season 2, but the numbers weren't bad. They were bad. So saying it was canceled was kind of a gray area because Tim Kring said from the beginning it's only going to be 13 episodes and we're done. But Sendel said, yeah, they were in talks if it took off. Like I said to everybody, if it took off, of course it'd be a season 2. But if the numbers aren't good, they're just going to be like, one-off shot. That's it. We're done. But yeah, so obviously Mohinder didn't die in that explosion because they were in talks with him to come back. Because, of course, he's got super strength. If he got buried under all that rubble, yeah, would he have died? Who knows? Power himself out of it. Just like Matt Parkman. Look how he ended up in Heroes Reborn. Car accident in a river, down by a riverbed, and did he get saved? Did he die? Did he bleed out? What happened to him? You can't use his telepathy if there's nobody around. Doesn't matter. You going to do control the animals? Who knows? Maybe he did. I don't know. Maybe the animals saved him. I don't know. But he lost those wristbands for his ex-wife and his son. They went floating on the river to take them to the future, which didn't matter anyways because the future that Erica saw doesn't happen. So anyhow, I'm done complaining. I had to get that off my chest. This is going to be a long-ass video. I'm going to upload this first to SoundCloud, and then I'll maybe put some pictures together and put this on YouTube. I'm not going to... I'm just recording my voice. I'm not recording myself. I do that for my vlogging, which, oh Christ, I got to get back on that. I haven't done that in 3 or 4 weeks. And I keep telling people, yeah, I'm doing that every week. Sorry, folks, I'm working other things. Like I said, the TK Chronicles is my focus right now, so I've been practicing filming and trying to get stuff right. And yeah, I don't post a lot of it to YouTube. I post a few things just to show people what I'm doing, learning how to do. But for the most part, starting October, I've got some vacation time coming up. And over a 2-week period, I'll be filming hopefully 2 episodes. And then in my spare time, I'll be editing it together. And I just don't want to make any mistakes, so I do practice a lot. But anyhow, so like I said, Heroes Reborn, if you're bored, go on Show Me. I have Show Me. I just saw that they added it on Show Me TV. SHOMI. Get your free month trial. Watch the 13 episodes of Heroes Reborn. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about it. A lot of people didn't like it. I defended it for a while, and then I'm tired of defending it. I've rewatched it. I watched it when it did the original run on TV, and then I bought the DVD and I watched it again. And yeah, I'm right in my I feel I'm right in my critique of the show. I was not overly impressed with it. It's a sad continuation, and they could have done so much better with it. There was so many different things they could have done with it. Maybe in another video. I think I've gone on for 30 minutes or plus here already on this. Probably 40 minutes. Anyhow, I'll come back another time, talk about Heroes. For my SoundCloud, if you're on SoundCloud, just follow me, Glenn Power. I'm going to be talking about a wide variety of different topics as the NFL starts up. I'm going to be talking about the NFL. I'm going to be talking about stuff that's going on YouTube. I'm kind of getting an invested interest in this YouTube thing right now. I'm watching a lot of these shows. Like if you haven't seen like things like the Baited Podcast on YouTube, check it out. There's a whole bunch of different things I want to do. I want to talk about entertainment. I want to talk about superheroes. I want my podcast or my show to be about different things. I'm going to still vlog on the side, but what I'm doing now, I want to do critiques and entertainment and interviews and whatnot. So we'll see where this goes. I'm more comfortable doing this at the moment. And then I can do this and I can still work on my TK Chronicles at the same time. And anybody wants to play a part in my thing, in my web series, drop me a line on YouTube or if you're on Twitter, it's at GlennPower72. And Glenn is with one N, not two. I'm not Scottish. I got Irish background, and I am Canadian, so I don't put two N's in my name. Yeah, Glenn Power 72 at Glenn Power 72 on Twitter. I only add close friends and family on my Facebook, and I'm on G Plus Glenn Power. And a lot of people confuse me for the drummer and the Irish band, The Script. I'm not him. Okay, don't send me requests for autographs. I get that on Twitter all the time, thinking, "Oh, I love The Script." I'm like, "Goody, I'm not from The Script." Stop it. I'm not going to autograph anything. I'm not going to send you nothing. I'm not going to send you a CD. I don't have a CD. Stop it. And so I'm on G Plus Glenn Power. I'm on Twitter. I'm on YouTube. YouTube. My main channel is it's actually Glenn Power Station, all one word. That's it, folks. Thanks for listening. I'll be back probably a lot quicker than I am with my vlogging. This is a lot easier to do. And until next time, take care.